all have heard about this book, No Longer Human, but the author, Osamu Dazai. Well, his life is the most interesting story in all of literature. How he tried to kill himself not once, not twice, but 5 times, and made history in the meantime. Believe me, you have never seen anything like this before. Today we're going to discuss him in a way that everyone can understand, even me, with my goldfish attention span. So the story starts from a young boy, born in a poor family in rural Japan. His father struggled to put food on the table. It was hard. That's what I would have said if it were true. The real story is, Osamu Dazai was born in a family of wealthy elites. His parents were very rich. They lived in a big mansion, almost as big as my editor's mum. And above all of that, they even had 30 servants. Now, to keep those 30 servants busy, Papa Dazai and Mummy Dazai made 11 kids. Osamu was number 10. So, as a kid, his father was often absent, away, earning all that sweet money, and his mother was busy too, probably taking care of the other 10 kids she had made. So he was raised mostly by the servants of the house. This absence of love from his parents, this feeling of being all alone in a crowded mansion must have been heartbreaking for our young author, even more so when he found out how his family got to be this rich. Allow me to illustrate. Imagine this is Osamu's father. Let's call him Papa Dazai, and right now he's walking through the local farms. So when he sees a poor farmer, he goes, "Hello, poor farmer. Looks like you need some money." "Yes, sire. I am a poor farmer. I need money." "Don't worry, my peasant friend. I'll lend you some." Really? You do that? You do that for me?" "Oh, sure. Here, sign this." "Okay, but what was it, good sir?" "Ah, nothing. It's just, in case you can't pay my money back, I can take your farm." What? "In case you can't pay my money back, I can take your farm." 2 days later. "Hey you, farmer, time to pay my money back." It's just been 2 days, sire. I spent it all. I have nothing left." "So you can't pay my money back now, huh?" Remember this, what it says? In case you can't pay my money back, I can take your farm." "Oh, that's what it says." "Wait, don't do it. Hippity hoppity, this farm is now my property." Yeah, so I just explained you the entire business model of Papa Dazai and how he got rich in the first place. So when Dazai became old enough to realize that his father had been leeching money from poor farmers to fund this mansion and this lifestyle, he started to hate it. He resented all this luxury and money from that point on. He just wanted to escape this lifestyle. And an escape he found, and that was books. He fell in love with books when he was 16 and decided to become a writer himself and live a modest life away from this family. And at that time, he was also very inspired by this lad. Enter Ryonosuke Akutagawa, an extremely popular author in Japan at the time. He thought, whoa, this guy's got all the aura. He's so famous and loved. I must be like him. Wait, what is this newspaper anyway? Why is it flying in my face? Ryonosuke committed suicide at just 35. What? What? My idol! Akutagawa's death hit him like a brick. This fancy world of literature he'd built in his mind turned out to be a theater of despair. Was being an author even a good decision in first place? He saw no point in school, so he began skipping classes, spending all of his allowance on clothes, women, and alcohol. But this is harmless so far. It's not like this new lifestyle would cost him his life, right? Right? December 10, 1929, 10 p.m. He is still a school student and his final exams are coming up, and obviously he's not prepared because instead of soaking in the knowledge of books, he was soaking in alcohol all the time. And while his classmates were memorizing books, he was busy memorizing the number of women he'd been with. He knew he could not pass these exams. But he knew this, I know this, and now you all know this too. But his family? Yeah, they had no idea. They still thought he'd pass with flying colors. There were high expectations from him. So to avoid this shame of failing school, he took an overdose of sleeping pills to off himself just before the exams. Well, he failed at that too. Thankfully he survived. The overdose he took was apparently not enough. He lives to see another day. And not just that, he took the exams the very next year and passed. Very cool, Dazai. Finally, school is over, he said. I am going to the university. I am an adult now. No more pesky homework. I'll live a fantastic and happy life. Oh, my sweet summer child. So now, big boy Dazai took admission in Tokyo's Imperial University with the hopes of being a great student. But ladies and gentlemen, remember, by now he's already addicted to alcohol and women. So what do you think? If a man is given an option to choose between alcohol and books, which one would he choose? That's right, he would choose a woman. So Dazai started skipping classes again and neglecting his studies again. And the same year, he met this woman, Hatsuyu Oyama. And she was a geisha. What's a geisha, Bubbly, you might ask? Well, I don't know, let's Google it.
A geisha is a Japanese woman trained to entertain guests with their artistic skills.
Boring! Shut up, nerd! Let me tell you. So you have seen those Japanese baddies wearing that white makeup and that fancy dress? Well, this is called a kimono. Yes, that. And these ladies are called geishas, and their job is to talk and entertain the guests of whoever rich guy has hired her. Yeah, boy. But wait, why are we talking about a geisha in a literature video? Yes, Osamu Dazai fell in love with one, Hatsuyu Oyama, while he was in the university. And, well, that's not the problem. The problem is he ran away with her. But my readers, did I tell you his family was rich and elite? Well, turns out they don't like the idea of their elite son running away with one of those, so they disowned him altogether, and consequently, he was also expelled from the university. And well, Hatsuyo also left him after that. So now this was a real low point in Dazai's life. He was sad, devastated. Something needed to change. He can't go on like this forever. He needs to do something. So he did what he does best. Went straight into a bar to drink more alcohol. Yay! Drinking is the solution to all the problems. And the bar hostess here was this woman, Shimeko Tanabe. And Dazai, as we all know, was a great ladies' man, so they introduced themselves and started drinking together. They continuously drank for 2 days straight, and no one really knows why, whether it was the heat of the moment or just being drunk, but Dazai said, life is hell right now, why not just end it all? And you see, because Dazai had been lonely all his childhood, now he did not want to die alone as well, so somehow he convinced the bar hostess Shimeko to die with him. What? Shimeko? You met him 2 days ago, you stupid lass. Anyways, so just 9 days after his expulsion from uni, Dazai and his new friend went straight to a beach and kept on going. But wait a minute, Dazai has something that no one else does. Plot armor. So just a couple of minutes later, a passing by fishing boat spotted them and tried to rescue them. And well, Dazai survived. Yay! But the bar hostess, Shimeko? Yeah, she died. Absolute bummer. Rest in peace, Shimeko. You shall be missed. Well, to the ladies watching this, listen up. If a man comes to you and offers you a drink and after 2 days of binge drinking asks you to go with him to a beach for a lovely stroll, well, don't. Seriously, don't. But, you see, trying to off yourself is one thing, but asking someone else to do it with you, that's kinda illegal, no? So the police came and charged him as an accomplice in her death. But my readers, did I tell you his family was rich and elite? It would be devastating for them if their own son, although disowned, went to jail and ruined their reputation. So they pulled some strings and made some calls and used their influence to halt the police investigation, resulting in a stay of prosecution, meaning the charges were dropped without any conviction. Dazai was like, you did this for me? You saved me? Thank you, my dear family. Now give me my allowance back and let me marry Hatsuyo the geisha. Family was like, what? If you think we'll give you your pocket money back and let you marry that geisha just so that you don't drag our family name through mud? You're absolutely right. We will. Here, take this, your allowance and our blessings for you to marry Hatsuyu Oyama, the geisha. Now you see, there's a saying by this great philosopher. If you get yourself a wife, then you should not end your life. The philosopher Bubbly Yus, circa 2025. Stop the video, I have something to say. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new genre of YouTube videos that we are trying to mainstream. We are making literature and philosophy fun for everyone and not feel like a boring class. So please click on that like button and tell me who we should cover next. Or else... Huh? So, back to the video. So after marriage, when his personal life was taking some decent shape, he decided to get involved in politics, particularly with the left wing and the communists. But the thing is, being a communist was, again, very illegal in Japan at the time. It was the worst crime you could commit in Japan, other than pirating anime movies. So you see, the Imperial Japanese government heavily suppressed any form of communism. They used to arrest anyone who was involved with the communists. So one day the cops came to arrest Dazai. But my readers, did I tell you his family was rich and elite? So they did what they always do, cut off his allowance. And later, they forced him to sign a pledge to completely withdraw from all political activities in exchange for the charges being dropped and his allowance reinstated. So he ditched communism for some pocket money, eh?
Hello, I like money.
But this dependence on his family's allowance was kinda humiliating for our author. You see, he's a 26-year-old married man now. He needs to earn for himself now. So he was kinda desperate for a job at this point, but he was being rejected over and over and over again. And recently he had failed a job interview at a very popular newspaper. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. He was failing at everything. So he bought a rope and tried to hang himself. But he failed at that too. Dazai lives again. Yay! There, Dazai, there. You know the saying, one should always keep learning from his failures. Okay, I will not fail my next attempt. Wait, that's not what I meant. Unfortunately, just 3 weeks after this failed attempt, he got appendicitis and was hospitalized. And while he was in the hospital, he was given Pavinel, a morphine-based painkiller. You hear that? Morphine-based painkiller. Yes, he got addicted to it too. He's not just an alcoholic now, he is a full-blown druggie. But my readers, did I tell you his family was rich and elite? To save their reputation of having a druggy son in the family, they sent him to a mental institution where he was locked in a room, forced to quit drugs. This jail-like treatment lasted for over a month, and this period of forced isolation and withdrawal was deeply traumatic for Dazai. And while he was confined here, his wife, Hatsuyu Oyama, that geisha, she had an affair with his best friend at his house. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember when the great philosopher Publius said, if you get yourself a wife, you should not end your life? But that wasn't all, there's more to this. But if she boinks your mate, death is your only fate. The philosopher Publius, circa 2025, part 2. So this time he, along with his wife who tried to salvage her reputation, they both tried to commit Sinju, otherwise known as double suicide, by taking sleeping pills. But you already know Dazai has something that no one else does. Plot armor. So both of them survived. God damn it, it seems like they can't do anything together properly. So they divorced and moved on their separate ways. But tell me one thing, my dear readers. Did I tell you his family was rich and elite? So this rich family found a woman, a respectable woman with a respectable profession, a school teacher, to marry Dazai, Michika Ishihara. His friends and family believed that Dazai desperately needed a mentally stable and an intelligent partner to help him overcome his destructive habits, including drug addiction and alcoholism. And they were kinda right, for the most part. You see, they moved to Tokyo after marriage, where Dazai slowly got rid of his drug addiction and alcoholism, finally became a normally functioning adult. And then they both lived happily ever after. The end. That's what I would have said if everything would have gone right, because around this time, a short man with a funny mustache decided to take over the world. And a small little fight called World War happened. And in Japan, every able-bodied adult man was asked to fight for Japan. But due to his chronic drug and alcohol abuse, Dazai was very weak and had tuberculosis by now, and hence he was excused from the war effort. So when the country was at war, he was home with his wife. And what can a man do anyways if he stays home with his wife 24 hours a day? Well, they made 3 kids, 2 daughters, Sonoko and Satoko, and 1 son, Masaki. The Sotako will go on to become a very famous writer just like her father. But by the time when war came to an end, Dazai's health had been rapidly deteriorated due to his tuberculosis. But as they say, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks, you cannot make your grandpa download TikTok, you cannot make a cat do yoga. Just like that, you cannot stop Dazai from womanizing. So you see, he met one of his fans, Ota Shizuko, and started an affair with her. This fan even got pregnant and had his daughter later on. God damn it, Dazai. And not just that, he started cheating on his wife left, right and center. But his wife, well, he did not divorce her. In a legal sense, he was still married. But by now, he was living separately and had abandoned his family to live with Ota Shizuka, the fan he had an affair with. But one day, he woke up and found Shizuko, the fan, was pregnant with a daughter. Dazai, I'm pregnant. It's a girl. You are going to be a daddy. I already am a daddy. I've got 3 legal kids from my legal wife. What do you even mean by legal kids? Well, Shizuko, it's all fun and games, but you see, this daughter of yours is, an illegitimate child. How dare you, you monster? Don't worry, I have written a poem just for such oopsies that I may do. What? And it goes, you have to raise the child on your own, because tonight I will be gone. And he skedaddled out of there, abandoning her and the newborn never to be seen again. God damn it. Now, you may say, what would he do after leaving all his family and mistress behind? Well, he's Osamu Dazai. He will find another mistress, a new one, a better one without any kids, but still gullible enough to love him. And that he did. Meet Tommy Yamazaki, a widow whose husband had just died in the war. So Dazai moved in with Tommy in an isolated room he had rented. And here, Tommy started treating and looking after him and his rapidly declining health from tuberculosis. But one thing you need to know about Tommy is that her husband had just died in a war. She was understandably also very depressed and death obsessed. So no one knows who started it, Dazai or her. One of them anyways proposed the idea that both of their lives had been kinda disappointing till now. It's not really worth living at all. And both of them agreed to this. So one night on June 13, 1948, Dazai went out and brought a red cable and tied himself to his latest mistress, Tommy, at the waist, and they both went to a canal nearby, which was overflowing due to the rain and storm that was happening that week, and they both jumped into the canal together. They both drowned. Their bodies were discovered from the canal 6 days later, and the date that day was Dazai's birthday. He was found dead on his 39th birthday. But Bubbly, what happened to his wife, his 3 kids, his first mistress, the illegitimate daughter? Well, his wife had to face humiliation because her husband, who happens to be a very famous writer by now, had ended his life in such a scandalous way, and she was left with 3 kids to raise all by herself. And the 3 kids, the youngest daughter, grew up to become one of the most prominent Japanese writers herself, just like her father, and wrote popular books like Mountain of Fire. The other 2 kids also turned out to be normal adults. And the fangirl mistress, Shizuko, and her illegitimate daughter, well, she had to raise the daughter all by herself, who also grew up to become a writer. She wrote in detail about Dazai and his mother's complicated relationship and shared it with all of us to read. You like what you saw? Watch about other popular authors on my channel. Bye!